I saw One Battle After Another on Sunday. It was fucking awesome. I saw it in the Lincoln Center IMAX theater that holds like 1,000 people. And it's probably, if not my favorite theater going experience I've ever had, like top 3 ever. There truly wasn't a continuous minute without at least one collective laugh from the audience. Outside of like the final chase scene, I will be thinking about this experience for a long time and probably will try to recreate it sometime this week or next, which could be difficult as the film is virtually sold out at every showing into early next week. Everyone's talking about this film, and since I think it's an easy early favorite to win Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, and a ton of other awards, I wanted to yap about it on here. Also, quick side note, I've stepped away from video essays for a little bit on this channel, but I may have more of those coming up. It's gonna be a packed season. On this channel though, I will continue to be posting my own work. Those are just like comedic and dramatic short films, and also long form work created by me. So if you like when I talk about movies, definitely check that out, okay? We're gonna move on to the actual movie. I've regrettably only seen less than half of Paul Thomas Anderson's films. I've seen The Master, Punch Drunk Love, Licorice Pizza, and now One Battle After Another, having missed out on There Will Be Blood, Phantom Thread, Boogie Nights, Magnolia, Inherent Vice, Hard 8. So I really just made this section of the video to tell you guys I do know Ball because I adore The Master and Punch Drunk Love. I loved Licorice Pizza, and now I adore One Battle After Another. And I will be watching more of his work ASAP, but it seems like bro really can't miss. Like, he's such a legendary filmmaker, but you should not take my word for it because I've only seen 4 of his films. Okay, so if Sean Penn doesn't win Best Supporting Actor for his role of Stephen Lockjaw, I'd be incredibly shocked. I know it's silly to talk about awards like 2 days into October, but he absolutely nailed the furthest pole of like the David Goggins, Jocko Willink, Joe Rogan military/disciplined obsessed white man role, which is super important to both create satire about at this point in time, but also for the actor who plays it and the creators of the character to stay grounded in reality and avoid just making the person the clown of a film. And I think they did it really well here. Penn is absolutely unflinching in his angry yet vulnerable performance and steals the stage in literally every scene. He's just so hilarious. Seeing his beat red about to explode face in 70mm from the second row was truly an ethereal experience. He said 0 jokes in the film, yet I think there were like 3 lines he delivered that didn't produce a fit of laughter from everyone in the audience. The entire cast here is absolutely on fire. Dad Leo is just peak. The entire French 75 cast is amazing. Shout out Dijon Duenas, the musical artist, and also Paul Thomas Anderson for knowing his music and throwing him in this film. Dude is having an insane run right now. Dijon, he produced Justin Bieber's album, Bon Iver's album, and then put out one of the albums of the year, Baby. If you don't know his music, you're welcome. Check out the Absolutely film on YouTube. Benicio del Toro is brilliant as Sensei Sergio St. Carlos. For some reason, I thought his name was Sensei Bob, I don't know why. Tiana Taylor kills it, Chase Infinity, Jungle Pussy as Jungle Pussy. I just recently found out that there's a person named Jungle Pussy, so fire. Tony Goldwyn, also perfectly cast as like the worst white man you've ever met. This film is shot beautifully. Shout out to a DP named Michael Bauman, who also shot Licorice Pizza. I really just made this section so I could talk about the final chase scene. I felt like I was a kid as my dad was driving up and down hills on a car ride, getting butterflies in my stomach. It was one of the most memorable scenes in a while, and definitely the moment I felt most immersed in the film, and it was just awesome. They landed it so well. Okay, so don't keep watching if you haven't seen the film. I'll definitely be spoiling some parts. The movie is very political, no way around it, and now it's time for you to listen to a white man talk about immigration. No, but yeah, sorry, I guess. It revolves around a group of revolutionists who use political violence to fight immigration law in the United States, going as far as bombing government buildings, robbing banks, and holding US officials at gunpoint to free illegal immigrants from isolation camps, and just try to fight what they consider to be right. As the revolutionists are hunted down one by one after one of them murders a police officer, Perfidia Beverly is forced into Stephen Lockjaw's care, while Bob Ferguson, played by Leo, and baby Willa flee to a small sanctuary town called Backton Cross. The film jumps 16 years where the US government is still hunting Leo and Willa down, headed by Lieutenant Stephen Lockjaw, who has his own ulterior motives of ensuring Willa is not his own daughter, as he and Perfidia had sex in a motel 16 years ago. The second act of this movie then takes off as Lockjaw gets closer to both finding Willa and Bob and achieving his goal of getting into the Christmas Adventurers Club, an all-white male cult club for the quote-unquote peak white male, as old, decaying, evil white men in the film explain it. Lockjaw locates Willa, but a series of events unfold which lead him losing her, being shot in the head, and her returning to her non-biological father, Bob. The film ends with Stephen Lockjaw with his face comically deformed from the gunshot wound being gassed by the men he is desperate to join, as they have ruled him unclean by their standards. Willow reads a note from her mother and is uncertain whether the two ever meet or reunite. This film is 100% a direct, calculated shot at white men. There's no debating it, but what PTA does a great job at is showing it is not the quote-unquote all white men are bad argument that seems to ruffle the feathers of the average Joe. The average white Joe, I guess. The category of white men that PTA fires these shots at is a pretty undoubtedly obvious, objective, awful, scum of the earth guy. The only prerequisite to joining this group of guys is a complete lack of empathy for those who aren't like you and a desire to exploit others to feel powerful. So if you can avoid that, you're good, right? Just care about other people and truly do it non-performatively, and no one's gonna come at you. There are clearly bigger fish to fry with how accurate this film depicts the current state of leaders in our society. While watching this film, I couldn't help but remember a quote from the show Fleabag, created by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. And if you think it makes me look performative quoting Fleabag, just wait to see the quote that I picked. This is the most performative thing I've ever done, but stay with me, I think it aligns. In the show, a character tells Phoebe, Waller-Bridge's character, "Women are born with pain built in. It's our physical destiny, period pain, sore boobs, childbirth. We carry it within ourselves throughout our lives. Men don't. They have to seek it out. They met all these gods and demons and things just so they can feel guilty about things, which is something we do very well on our own. And then they create wars so they can feel things and touch each other. And when there aren't any wars, they can play rugby." So I don't want to go on a man versus woman rant here, but I think the quote was incredibly relevant to one battle after another. I'm not saying white men have it easy. I think life is pain and joy and a million emotions, and everyone's problems are valid, but I do think it is safe to say that on average in American society, white men, particularly this group that PTA shows as the Christmas Adventurers Club, all hail St. Nick, have the least amount of pain caused by external factors to them. That is to say, things they can't control. A lot of the hardship we see them face in this film is created by themselves, or at least kept in place by them. I'm also not saying that the military, government, and other groups like them have purposes that are obsolete. My point is, take the difference in the realities of different characters in the film. The immigrants in this film are being persecuted for who they inherently are, having to hide away in a sensei's apartment in an effort to make a better life, risking their lives and some of them losing them in this fight. And then Sean Penn's character gets gassed, literally gassed to death by those he considers his peers because he's quote-unquote not clean enough as a result of having sex with a black woman. So the difference is pretty staggering. While it is a hyperbole to send a message, the message still has integrity and truth to it. PTA is basically dumbing down the fact that as a society, we've completely lost the fucking plot. With a lot of this, I know I'm not stumbling upon new truths or anything. The story of this film and the world at this point really feels like just a desire for power versus the fight for humanity. People will sugarcoat and dance around this, talking about billionaires, capitalism, and the current state of society as necessary to human life, but they're only really necessary to the continuation of themselves. Again, I know I'm not saying groundbreaking stuff here. I'm just telling my own truth as I discover it. So you can make the joke in the comment where it's bro is really coming to this awareness from a Paul Thomas Anderson film. It's fine. What I think this film does beautifully, though, is it makes it abundantly clear who the good guys and who the bad guys are without shoving a feeling or decision in your face. It uses satire beautifully to show the simple truth. It's a million times cooler to be a human than it is to try to be a god or a powerful being. Benicio del Toro is the most badass guy in this film by far. He consistently lets go of money and power and self-importance to help people out without a second thought. I'd much rather be the kid skateboarding holding onto Benicio's car than any of these guys in the Christmas Adventurers Club or any of these guys working for Sean Penn. One of my favorite scenes from this film is when Sensei Sergio introduces Bob, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, to all the people living in his apartment. It's such a humanizing moment with no other goal besides reminding the audience of a simple truth. All of these people are us. We are no different. They have names, they eat dinner at night, they are human, and it's moments like this that I hope the audience takes with them, as I know I have. I don't think it's a cop-out to say that good art asks the question but doesn't have to have the answer. I think it's just the truth. It's an incredibly complex issue. Everything that this film discusses, but what PTA does beautifully with one battle after another is reminds us that some things are not complex. Human rights aren't complex. Greedy, evil people in power and the terrible things they do are not complex. You cannot simply look at an issue and write it off fully as too big of a wall to climb. There are parts of this wall that need to be knocked down completely so that we can actually focus on what is truly an issue. I'm glad the film ends the way it does, showing both how important family is and how unimportant our desire for more power is, while highlighting the fact that people are dying and may remain separated forever due to the fact that we as a society still struggle with this. I hope everyone sees this film, and I know it's extra hopeful, but what else can we do? I hope it leads to real change. It certainly lit a fire under my ass to be more involved in what I claim to care about and fight for. So yeah, I love the film. I love the experience. I want to go back to AMC, Lincoln Center, but in the meantime, follow me on Letterboxd and check out my other work. I love you. Goodbye.